Namaste. Good morning and welcome to Creative Living Fellowship and our Sunday meditation service. I'm Lena St. Michael, licensed practitioner, and let's just find that seat, sitting tall and comfortable, balanced. Exhale completely. Inhale, lift the heart, lift the shoulders up to your ears. And with the heart lifted, now relax the shoulders. Several more of these deep breaths. Keeping the heart lifted and everything just relaxing. Making sure you exhale completely. And so how good it is to imbibe, to reveal, and to rest in the Spirit this morning. To rest in the vibration of Om, said to be the pointer to the divine, to the deep silence, the deep oneness, the omniscience, the omnipresence, the omnipotence of Spirit right here and right now. And so on this Father's Day, we imbibe the nurturing of Spirit, the cool breeze of Spirit embracing us and feeling the blessings of our silence and our offering to the world. Bask in the silent vibration. Rest in the Om. When the mind wanders, and it will, breathe it back with the silent vibration of Om. Rest. Rest in this moment. This moment of the eternal divine love. And so we breathe a little deeper, sit a little taller. Breathing the blessing of our gathering together that has no separation that our collective energy is not dissipated by space, time, or dimension, that our collective vibration, our dedication is blessing us in healing, in harmony, in love, beauty, compassion, and creativity. And blessing in ways that we may never know in this world and beyond. This is truly a meditation service. We go forth and multiply exponentially this deep, deep connection, this deep, deep love. And know that the celebration is just beginning, because our service starts at 10 a.m. Thank you. Thank you for your practice. Namaste.
Good morning, and welcome to Creative Living Fellowship online Sunday service. Please join us in our opening song, Use Me.
Use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. I used to think God was the sun, God is the sun, but God's so much more than the earth or the stars or all of creation. God is creator, all in all, needing us to shine its light as me, as you. So use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. All that I'm saying is, command my hands. What must they do? Command my life. It's here for you. God is the love that heals all creation. God is creator, makes all things new, and God needs us to shine its light as me, as you. So use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. And God needs us to shine its light. God needs us to shine its light. God needs us to shine its light as me, as you. So use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Creative Living Fellowship. I'm the Reverend Dr. Sherry F. McCreary. It is my pleasure to be the senior minister here and to welcome you here this morning. We are an independent religious science church, and we welcome all paths that lead to truth. Today is Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there and father figures out there and those who serve as fathers out there. Happy Father's Day. Father's Day started in 1910 by a woman by the name of Sonora Smart Dodd. And she was in church on Mother's Day the year before, and she wanted there to be a special day to recognize her father, to recognize fathers, because her father had raised 6 children by himself after her mother died in childbirth. So the next year, the first Father's Day was celebrated, and that was on June 19th. Isn't that something? That Father's Day, the first Father's Day was June 19th, 1910, and it became a holiday, a national holiday recognized here in this country in 1972. It took a long time. Just as on June 19th, that's the day that the enslaved African Americans in Texas were finally apprised of the fact that slavery had ended and they were free at that time. So, and June 19th became a national holiday just this week and was celebrated yesterday. So it's interesting that those two have that history together. June 19th was the first day of Father's Day, and her father had served as a general in the Civil War. So there has to be a connection there someplace. But happy Juneteenth, in addition to happy Father's Day. So let's take a breath together. We are a community of love, care, and connection that opens hearts, expands consciousness, and transforms lives. And we do that through the principles and practices of the science of mind. Did I say that we are an independent religious science church? If I didn't, we are, and we welcome all paths that lead to truth. One of our practices here is holding the high watch, and we have 2 practitioners who are doing that today. They are Carrie Sherman and Rhonda Emmerich. And what that means is that they're sitting in meditation and prayerful contemplation throughout the time that we spend here this day, just holding a space for the perfect unfolding of this time. So I'd like to thank Carrie and Rhonda for their service here today. Always giving a shout out, as you know, to the Sunday service team. They are Nicole Jordan, who is our Sunday service director, and Deb Covington, who's the Jill of all trades. She's our director of operations at the center, and she is also our song leader, and she does the comments and all kinds of things, and she's a part of the AV team. So I'd like to recognize Deb and Nicole for all the wonderful things that they do. And of course, our tech team, our practitioners, Fran Peck and Reverend Mary Jane Hyde. And they are holding down the fort with our technical support today. I thank all of you for your service here today. And I'd like to especially thank guest practitioner Lena St. Michael, who led the beautiful meditation service, pre-service meditation service today. And we love having her here. And she also leads our Wednesday meditation, midday meditation service. So thank you very much, Lena St. Michael. We appreciate you so much. We welcome you here, and we are so appreciative. And just speaking of the midday meditation service, I'd just like to give a shout out to Deb Covington, who has been facilitating our midday meditation service ever since we came home during the pandemic for the last 16 months. I started this midday meditation service when we were still in the sanctuary and still in the building and in the sanctuary. And Deb and I would be the only ones there some days. And then other people started coming in. And then after we came home, Deb started doing the midday meditation. And she's there every day that we hold the meditation service. And we really, really appreciate it. And I wanted to give her a shout out for that, because she's been holding down the meditation fort for the community. Thank you very much, Deb. I appreciate you so much. So let's just take a breath together as I tell you about our favorite friend, musician who's here today. Charles Holt is back with us. And we are so glad that he's back. He'll be with us just in a little bit after the meditation and prayer and all. I'm sorry, after the reading and prayer. But meanwhile, we're going to have the announcements from Nicole. And then following the announcements, there will be a brief gong wash. And following the gong wash, there will be a few moments of silence. And then practitioner Monica Zickus will bring us our reading and our evocation. But now here's Nicole.
Good morning, Creative Living Fellowship. It is my pleasure to be here this Sunday morning to bring you today's announcements. Meditation is a great mindfulness practice that helps us be present in the now. So why not join us for midday meditation on Facebook to start or support your meditation practice? Midday meditation is at noon, Monday through Thursday on our Facebook page. And as Reverend Sherry mentioned, we are so pleased to have Lena St. Michael host and facilitate our Wednesday midday meditations, as well as today's pre-service meditation. Get your community care and connection on with your CLF family and Reverend Sherry every Tuesday as she hosts a Zoom meeting at 6:30 p.m. This week, Reverend Sherry will be leading Conscious Conversation. And if you would like to suggest a conversation topic or activity, please email her at connect@creativelivingfellowship.com. We look forward to seeing you on Tuesday. Join us next Sunday, June 27th at 11:45 a.m. for a community update meeting. Catch up on what's been happening since the sale of the building, results of the survey, and tentative plans for returning to in-person service and more. Are you curious about becoming a CLF member? Are you sure that you want to become a member? Or do you just want to reactivate your membership? Great. The first step is to sign up today, letting us know your interests. Then when we have enough participants, we'll be in touch with you as soon as we have a new member orientation scheduled. So remember to sign up today. You can use text to give to make your contributions to CLF. Simply text the amount you'd like to give to 602-610-1868. If it's your first time donating by text, you'll be sent a link to set up an account, and then after that, it's as easy as texting the amount you would like to tithe to 602-610-1868. And CLF is a tithing church, which means that we tithe off of your donations, and our 2021 second quarter tithes are going to Teen Lifeline, a connection of hope for Arizona's teens. And speaking of those quarterly tithes, we have a new quarter coming up. And with that, we're always looking for more new nonprofits to send our quarterly tithes to. If you have a nonprofit you would like to nominate, please use the link found in the comments to submit your recommendation. Our Sunday prayer room is available to you after service today. Get your after service prayer with a practitioner by heading on over to Zoom using the link provided in the comments. Prayer room participants are transferred by the host into a breakout room for a private and confidential session with one of our licensed practitioners. And as Reverend Sherry always says, there's no need to walk around with a heavy heart. Get your prayer from a practitioner today. And after service, we have Sunday fellowship too. Join practitioner Reverend Mary Jane Hyde in Facebook Messenger chat from 11:15 to 12:15 and hang out, discuss the service, have a cup of coffee, whatever's on your mind or heart. I think I just made a new word, mind and heart, or just connect with CLF family. And just a reminder, we have a new mailing address. You can also find this address on our website, posted on our Facebook page, or in your weekly newsletter. You can find the details of all of our events with their links on our website under events, under our Facebook events, posted in the comments, or in your weekly newsletter. That's it for today's announcements. It is now time to move on to our gong wash, followed by a moment of silence.
The reading this morning is from the Science of Mind textbook from the Teaching of Jesus on page 440. It's entitled The Law of Circulation, Matt 10:8. Freely ye have received, freely give. When the law of circulation is retarded, stagnation results. It is only as we allow the divine current to flow through us, on and out, that we really express life. The law of giving and receiving is definite. Emerson tells us to beware of holding too much good in our hands. Because of the unity underlying all life, no person lives entirely unto himself, but through himself he lives unto the whole, which whole embodies all other lives. Therefore, he that findeth his life shall lose it, and he that loseth his life shall find it. When a person's thought rests entirely upon herself, she becomes abnormal and unhappy. But when she gives herself with enthusiasm to any legitimate purpose, losing herself in the things she is doing, she becomes normal and happy. Only as much life enters into us as we can conceive, and we conceive of life in the larger sense only when there is complete abandonment to it. Let the one who is sad, depressed, or unhappy find some altruistic purpose into which he may pour his whole being, and he will find a new inflow of life of which he has never dreamed. And as we allow the reading to permeate deeper into our consciousness, let's take a moment to allow and acknowledge the one source, the one energy, the one power, that one is God. And God is giver, and God is receiver, and God is the current that runs through everything. And as God is all these things and so much more, so am I, and so is everyone. It can be no other way because there's only the one, and I am part of it, and so is everyone else. I am giver. I am receiver. I am part of this current that flows through all of life. And as I speak my word into the law, knowing it is done for the best and highest good, I solidly affirm that I am a giver, that I am a receiver, and I am part of this divine current. And that is the law. And I am only limited in my abundance by my consciousness or my thinking. And the more I allow, the more good I allow into my life, the more I receive. And that is law, and that is the truth of all things. And as I allow this current to ebb and flow into my life, the happier I am. And so I send blessings and light to anyone in the world that might be struggling. And I bless our firefighters putting out the fires in our state. And I bless all fathers today, those living and those no longer with us. And I bless our own congregation, Reverend Dr. Sherry, all involved in this service, all listening to this service. And I also bless the perfect unfoldment of this service today, knowing everything that's said and heard here flows perfectly. And I give such great thanks for the immediate manifestation of this prayer. And I release my word into the law that only says yes. And so it is. And I'd like to announce our musical guest this morning, Charles Holt.
This is my Father's world, and to my listening ears, all nature sings and round me rings the music of the spheres. This is my mother's world. Oh, let me never forget that, oh, the wrong seems oft so strong. God is the ruler yet. This is my Father's world. I rest me in the thought of rocks and trees, of skies and seas, his hands the wonders wrought. This is my mother's world. She shines in all that is fair, in the rustling grass I hear her pass. She speaks to me everywhere. All nature sings and around me rings the music of the spheres.
Wow, what a beautiful song. How beautiful. This is my father's world. This is my mother's world. We're speaking of that Father, Mother, God principle. This is my father's world. Oh, let's just breathe that in. How wonderful. How wonderful to hear this beautiful music this morning. As we, as I said, celebrate this Father's Day, and all of a sudden I was just sort of overcome with the thought and the memory of my own father this day, and celebrating him this day, as we celebrate all fathers this day. A wonderful man he was, and is. So let's just let's take another breath together. That was very moving for me in that moment. Our theme for the month is the walk in abundance. The walk in abundance. The walk in abundance. And it's very important that we keep in mind that walk in abundance, because we are walking in abundance. We live and move and have our being in abundance, because abundance is that quality of God. Abundance is that quality of wholeness. And so it is always right where we are. It is always available to us. And we always have the opportunity to experience it. And thinking of abundance, as I defined it for us last week, abundance is defined as the profusion of good in our lives. I love that word, profusion. There's some words that just really, really strike me. And profusion is one of them. The profusion of good in our lives is what abundance is. And abundance is, as I said, as I said last week, abundance is measured not by what flows in, but by what flows over. And it is that overflow that is the abundance. It is that overflow. And so what we want to do is to learn to walk in that overflow. We want to walk in that overflow that is always right where we are, always right where we are. And so just take a breath as we just think about, as I said to you last week, let's get into the habit of seeing abundance everywhere, looking around us to see abundance everywhere, and recognizing that we get to participate in it in that divine law of circulation by giving and getting, giving and getting. And that's the topic for today, giving and getting, giving and getting. That's how it works. Ernest Holmes says everything goes in circles. Everything goes in circles. Giving and getting, that's a circle. Giving and getting. What goes out comes back in. What you put out comes back into us. Everything, what goes around comes around. We hear all of these things. Giving and getting, that's what giving and getting is all about. That's what that circle is all about. What we give out, we get back. What we give out, we get back. Holmes says that we are distribution centers and acquisition centers, and that they are both equally identical and interchangeable. And the only thing that can stop that or block that is ourselves. The only thing that can stop or block that is ourselves. And so it just goes to show that this living in the overflow, this walking in abundance, this idea of abundance is all about consciousness. It's all about consciousness. The overflow is all about consciousness. It's all about consciousness. We hold the key. We hold the key to abundance or lack. We hold the key to abundance. We hold the key to lack. It's the same key. It's the same key. And so what we have to keep in mind is that it is up to us how we do this walk. It is up to us how much we experience it. And when you think about it, that whole walk in abundance is really simplicity itself. It's really simplicity itself. It's all about, what do we want to experience? How do we want to walk through this life? How do we want to walk in this life? How do we want to experience the allness and the fullness of God that has already made the gift of itself to each and every one of us? And all we need to do is just open up to receive it. Open up to receive it. And we set it in motion with our giving and receiving, with our giving and receiving, with our giving and receiving. The more we give, the more we receive. The more we give, the more we receive. The more we give, the more we receive. And you know, many people think that when we're talking about abundance, we're talking about money. Or when we're talking about prosperity, we're talking about money. And yes, we are talking about money sometimes. But there's so much more. There's so much more that's involved with abundance than money. And money it's fine to include and to think of money as abundance, because it is. And as Ernest Holmes says in The Treatment for Supply, money, like everything else that is desirable, must be a spiritual idea. Must be a spiritual idea. So we know that money is a spiritual idea, and it is a part of what we think of when we think of abundance. And there's so much more. There's love, there's peace, there's joy, there's harmony, there's balance, there's order. All of the qualities of God, all of the qualities of God are part of what we think of as abundance. Abundance is a quality of God, but all the qualities of God. And abundance has to do more with quantity. Quantity. We think of prosperity, that has somehow that seems to have more to do with quality, and abundance has to do with the quantity that we receive. So when we're in that overflow, space, then the sky's the limit. We can have more and more and more and more and more, and then more. And then even more than that. That's how the overflow works. That's how the overflow works. And so we want to make sure that we are in that overflow. I was just reminded of an interview I saw with Simone Biles, the gymnast, last week. And she was talking about, she's the greatest gymnast of all times. And she was talking about preparing for the Tokyo Olympics. And the interviewer was asking her, after all the things she's done and all that she's accomplished and all the medals and all the awards and everything that she's won, why is she still pursuing even more? And she said, I didn't come this far to just come this far. I didn't come this far to just come this far. Think about that. I didn't come. She had planned to be in the Olympics last year, and then they were canceled last year, and so she had to do a whole year of training, and that was she was talking about the difficulty in having to do that, and the interviewer was saying, you could have stopped. You're already at the top of your game. You could have stopped now. You said you were going to retire at the ripe old age of 23. You could stop now, and then her response just really struck me. I didn't come this far just to come this far. So her awareness that there's so much more, And so that's what we want to always be in our own lives, so aware that there's so much more. And there's so much more. And what we get to experience that to the degree that we are willing to experience it, to the degree that we're willing to claim the more, to the degree that we're willing to open to the overflow, to the degree that we're willing to be in the overflow, and to the degree that we are willing to continue to give, so that we stay in that circle of giving and receiving, giving and receiving, giving and receiving, giving and receiving. Because what we give comes back to us. What we give, Ernest Holmes says, when you give little and you receive an equal amount, then what we do is you give more, and then you, as sure as the day follows the night, he didn't say that part, that was my part, but as sure as the day follows the night, then you will receive more. The more you give, the more you get. The more you give, the more you get. And that's about anything. If you want more love in your life, we have to give more love. If we want more peace in our lives, we have to give peace. We have to be peace. We have to allow peace to precede us wherever we go, wherever we go, whatever we do. If we want more forgiveness in our lives, we have to give forgiveness. We have to give more forgiveness in order to experience more forgiveness in our lives. And so just think about, but as we move into this, deciding how we're going to live in this overflow, how we walk in this overflow, how we walk in this abundance, what is it that you really want? What is it that you really desire? What did you really desire? And then set your intention. Set your intention to experience that. Set your intention to live in the overflow, to walk in the overflow. And only you know what that looks like. And if you're not walking in that, what's blocking that? What's blocking you? What's keeping you from being in the overflow? What's keeping you from giving? What's keeping you from giving? What stories are you telling yourself that keeps you from giving? I don't have enough. It's too late now. no, they didn't give to me, somebody didn't give to me. Who are we blaming that keeps us from giving? Who are we blaming? When things aren't going so right, the way we want them to go in our lives, the question for us to always ask is, where do I need to give? Where do I need to give? Where do I need to give? And that doesn't mean where as a place to give, but it's like, what area of my life? In what area of my life do I need to give? In what area of my life do I need to open my heart? Because when we have closed hearts, we are being in that place of acquisition rather than a place of distribution. When we are giving, walking around with an open heart and being open-hearted to all, being open-hearted always, then when we're in that place, then we're in that place of giving. And when we're in that place of giving from a place of an open heart, we receive more. We receive more. That's basic law. That's the way it works. What you give out, you get back. What you give out, you get back. What goes around comes around. It's that circle. It goes around. It's endless. It goes around and it comes around. It goes around and it comes around. Ernest Holmes says the going out from us is one part of is one end of the coming back to us, and the coming back to us is the other end of the going out to us. It's like, imagine a rope, and one end is the going out and the other end is the coming back, and the going out and the coming back, and the going out and the coming back. And that's the way it works. And so just being in that place of giving, being in that place of giving, being in that place of open-heartedness, being in that place of love, being in that place of peace, being in that place of wanting to be in the flow, so that we can live our lives to the fullest extent, so that we can live our lives to the fullest extent, so that we can experience the allness and the fullness of God. And we can heal that sense of separation that we have. Because when we're in that place of lack, when we're in that place of not enough, when we're in that place of complaining, when we're in that place of feeling like I can't, and when we're in that place of blaming others for whatever it is we have or don't have, whatever it is we do or can't do, or whatever the case may be, or blaming ourselves, when we're in that place, then we're in that place of separation. We're in that place of feeling separate. We're in that place of not really experiencing the allness and the fullness of God that we experience when we know that we are not separate from God. We can never be separate from God. There's nothing that can ever separate us from God except our sense of separation from God. And so we want to move back into that place where we can really be in that place of wholeness. Holmes says that the perception of wholeness is the consciousness for healing. The perception of wholeness is the consciousness, of healing. And so wholeness contained within it is abundance. And we want to be able to perceive that wholeness so that we can experience the healing of that sense of separation that we may have at any given time. And so when we're walking around blaming, or when we're walking around complaining, stop, take a breath, take a step back, and ask, where do I need to give? Where do I need to give in this moment? And what do I need to give? What can I give so that I can step back into the flow? What can I give so that I can be in that overflow? What can I give so that I can be in that place of healing my sense of separation from whatever it is that I'm not experiencing right now, that I want to experience right now? What can I give in this moment so that I can experience the getting, so that I can experience the getting? What must I give? And Holmes says that the door to the kingdom of heaven swings both ways. What we close out closes us out. What we close out closes us out. And so when we're not giving, when we're not in that place of giving out, when we're not in that place of giving love, when we're not in that place of giving compassion, when we're not in that place of giving service, when we're not in that place of understanding, when we're not in that place of acceptance of each other, when we're not in that place of oneness, of unity, when we're not in that place of being all that we were created to be, then we're not experiencing the life that we were created to experience, the life that we were created to live. And all of this is about abundance. All of this is about abundance. All of this is about giving and receiving. All of this is about being open and receptive. All of this is about what's in my consciousness. What's in my consciousness is blocking me from the flow. And am I willing to let it go? Am I willing to change? That's a question to ask yourself. Am I willing to change? What story am I telling myself that's keeping me out of the flow? Because our stories, dictate how we live our lives, because we make decisions and choices according to the stories we tell ourselves. And when we're constantly telling ourselves, I can't give because, or I can't love this person, or I can't forgive that person, or I can't, I have no compassion for people who do, or whatever the case may be, that's withholding. That's withholding. And so when we're in that place of withholding, let's look at what stories are we telling ourselves about that? What stories are we telling ourselves? When we get into that I can't consciousness, let's move into the God can consciousness. Let's move into the God can consciousness. I can't, but God can. I can't, but God can. I don't know, but God knows. And when we recognize that power and that presence within us that knows all that is all, when we recognize the infinity that is, when we recognize that divine intelligence that is, that knows everything, then when we dare to turn it over, when we dare to allow that knower within us, that doer within us to step forward and do, to step forward and be itself. That's what God is doing, stepping forward and being itself. When we can do that, then we get into that place of that divine circle of giving and receiving. We get to experience the allness. We get to experience the fullness. We get to experience the cattle on 1,000 hills. The cattle on 1,000 hills. Scripture says the cattle on 1,000 hills belong to me. We don't have to milk them. We don't have to herd them. We don't have to do anything. Cattle on 1,000 hills, we have to just open our hearts and claim them. The gift has already been made. All that the Father hath is mine. The Father hath 1,000 cattle on 1,000 hills, and they're ours by the claiming of it. But we have to claim it in consciousness. We have to claim it in consciousness. We have to set our intention to be in that place of the overflow. We have to set our intention to walk in that place of the overflow. We have to set our intention to pay attention to where our attention is, to pay attention to where our attention is at all times, to make sure that we are in that place that we want to be. We're in that place of receiving. We're in that place of the fullness, of experiencing the fullness and the allness of God. Let's take a breath together, because as I said, the idea of abundance, the idea of living in the overflow, the idea of living in the overflow is just really, really simple. It's really, really simple. It really is simple. We may not see what it is that we desire, but we have to trust. We have to trust that I'm giving out, it has to come back to me. I'm giving out money, it has to come back to me. I'm giving out love, it has to come back to me. I'm giving out friendship, it has to come back to me. I'm giving out compassion, I'm giving out forgiveness, I'm giving out an open heart. It all comes back. I'm giving out peace, and we give it through our consciousness. When we walk around in the consciousness of oneness with God, then we're always in that place of giving. We're always in that place of giving. When we walk around knowing that we are one with God, always aware that God is everywhere present, always aware that God is everywhere present, wherever we are, whatever we're doing, and that we're always facing God no matter where we go, no matter who we meet, it's God meeting God meeting itself. And when we recognize that, then we start to give more. We start to receive more. We start to move back into that place of the overflow. We start to move back into that place of oneness, because that's where the overflow is, in that place of oneness with God. And so I invite you on this Father's Day, I invite you on this special day to be in that place of oneness, to be in that place of giving, to be in that place of receiving, and to be aware that we're in that place. Be aware that we are distribution points. Don't allow that which comes in, that's which we acquire, that because we are acquisition centers, don't allow that which comes in to get stuck because we're holding on to it. Ernest Holmes says, let go of it, thoughts and anything else that clutter up our lives, that clutter up our lives, that clutter up our hearts. So when things come in, don't hold on. Be willing to live with an open hand, an open heart, so that that which flows in flows out, and that which flows out flows in. And that is the way that we live in this place of unity, in this place of abundance. This is how we walk this walk of abundance, this walk of giving and receiving, by being in that consciousness always of giving, being in that consciousness always of receiving, being in that consciousness always of being in the flow, of being in the flow. And there's nothing like it. We get to experience the ease and the peace and the harmony and the balance and the joy that is God. And that's how we want to live our lives. Live our lives in God. That is how we live our lives, in God. That's how this walk in abundance is. We are walking in God. And so be mindful as you go through this time. Be mindful as you go through your day that you're walking in God every step of the way. But God is always right where we are, and God is all there is. So we have to be walking in God. So let's take a breath as we just move into prayer right now. Just moving into that place of knowing and sensing and feeling that presence of God that is always right where we are in each and every moment of each and every day. Just knowing that only power, that only presence, that only mind, that only life is God. And just knowing this only power, this only presence, this only life is my life. It is the life of each of us. And so as we move into this day, I just speak the word for each of us this day. I speak the word for all of us this day. Just speaking a word of abundance, knowing that abundance is. Abundance is an abundance of love, abundance of joy, abundance of health, abundance of prosperity, abundance of all needs met. This is the word that I speak for each of us this day, all needs met in each and every moment of each and every day. And that as I just open this circle of prayer, I know that each of us gets to experience the allness and the fullness of God as we open our hearts and we release and let go of the things that would clutter us up. We release and let go of the blame. We release and let go of the doubt. We release and let go of the fear. We release and let go of the anxiety. We release and let go of all that stuff. And we create that space. We create that space to receive the goodness that already is, the healing that already is, the wholeness that already is. And so for all those who need prayer with regard to physical body, I know that every cell, organ, tissue function of the physical body is healed, for the presence of God is in the midst. In our bodies of affairs, I know that God is in the midst, that all needs are met, no matter what we call the need, all needs are being met in each and every moment of each and every day, for God is in each and every moment of each and every day. So I pause in this moment of prayer so that you may speak the names of anyone you'd like held in prayer this day. You may speak their names silently or loud, and you may speak them now. And so for all those whose names were spoken here this day, I know that God is right where each of them is, blessing and keeping them right here and right now. This prayer goes out to anyone who's made prayer requests, who submitted prayer requests to the practitioners. The practitioners are praying over those prayer requests. And I know that God is in the midst of everything that's going on, every situation, every circumstance. This prayer goes out to anyone on this planet needing a prayer this day, knowing that God is in the midst, that healing is happening everywhere, for wholeness is everywhere, for God is everywhere. This prayer goes out to our government officials, to those who are in charge, just knowing that hearts are changed, Hearts are opened. Healing is happening. Unity is happening, despite any appearance to the contrary. But God is in the midst of everything. God is in the midst of everything, and all things are made new. All things are made new. And so I just simply say, thank you, Father, Mother God. Thank you, Father, Mother God, for the word spoken here this day. Thank you for the perfect manifestation of the word spoken here this day. Thank you, Father, Mother God, for everything, for everything, for everything. I know indeed that all is well, for I know indeed that all is God. And I simply allow it to be. And so it is.
Thank you, Reverend Sherry, for that very inspirational message today and the power of your prayers. Very grateful to have you as our leader. This is the time we participate in the divine law of giving and receiving by giving of our tithes and our offerings. CLF is a tithing church. We invite you to join us in this very sacred practice by tithing here at CLF. Click the donate link on our website or in the comments in Zoom or on Facebook. You can also use your smartphone to give. We appreciate your continued financial support of CLF. And let's now repeat our offering blessing. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I circulate. Thank you, God. And so it is. Here once again is Charles Holt with our offering music.
An angel asked me, do you know who you are? The question and the answer is not very far. The song of the sages, the knowledge of the ages is living where you reside. You have the key that unlocks the door to enter in that sacred place you haven't gone before, where deep meets deep, soul to soul. Feel that connection as the truth unfolds. I am, I am, I am. I am, you aren't. I am. You are the answer. Yes, you are the key that unlocks the door to freedom and leads you to me. Look deep inside you. Trust the force that guides you. It knows the way. Yeah, there's no separation. We're one and the same. A child of the Creator, known by different names. The Alpha and Omega, the eternal flame that burns deep inside you. Do you know my name? I am. From the mountain oceans, from the rocks to the trees, all the stars and constellations. I am, you are, I am, from the mountains to the oceans, from the rocks to the trees, yeah. All the stars and constellations, I am, and you are, I am mystical, yeah. I am love, and you live in me from the very low, to the heavens above. I am. There's no separation. We're one and the same. A child of the Creator, known by different names. The Alpha and Omega, the eternal flame. It burns deep inside you. Do you know my name? I am, from the mountains to the oceans. I am, from the rocks to the trees. I am all the stars and constellations. I am, you are, I am the peace that passes all understanding. I am the joy that's overflowing. I am the love in abundance. I am, you are, we are. I am, you are, we are. I am, yeah. Oh, I am, yeah. I am, you are.
Oh, wow. Let's take a deep breath. Don't we love Charles Holt? So wonderful. Thank you so much, Charles. We look forward to having you back with us real soon. We are so glad you were with us here today. I am. That song will be singing me for the rest of the day. So again, let's take a deep breath as I move into a couple of closing announcements that I have. Don't forget that next week we have our community update meeting, and that's the meeting that we will share the information about the sale of the property and information about moving forward and results of the survey and all the good things Nicole told you about in the announcements. But I'd like to just remind you that after the service next week at 11:45, we will be having the community update meeting. And we invite you to please join us so that you can be updated on what's going on and what it looks like for us moving back to in-person services and how soon we'll be doing that. So join us for that after service. Today after service, join Reverend Mary Jane Hyde, who will be hosting the fellowship time after service today. This is a time to come together and break bread together and have coffee and chat and connect with each other after service today. Also after service, we have our Zoom prayer room that's open. Practitioners will be available to pray with you in the privacy of a breakout room after service immediately. So you can click on the link in the comment section. And you also have the alternative of praying with a practitioner by calling an on-call practitioners who are on call 24/7. You can get their names from the comments or from our website and have a practitioner pray with you. Or you can send an email to the practitioners at prayer@creativelivingfellowship.com. And practitioners pray over your prayer requests for 30 days, and there's always someone praying for you. So the point is, don't walk around with a heavy heart. Practitioners are available. They love to pray. They love to pray for you and to just support you in prayer and know the truth for you. But sometimes we can't know it for ourselves. And so take advantage of that offer that the practitioners are making to us, please. We have the Community Connection meeting on Tuesday evenings. I facilitate that every week on Tuesday evenings. This week we have our conscious conversation time at 6:30 to 7:45. So I invite you to come out and join us. There's sort of a core group of people who've been attending that meeting for the last 16 months now. And we'd like to expand the core and have you come out and join us for the Community Connection meeting this Tuesday evening. Don't forget that, what else is there? The treatment for supply. Don't forget that. We're praying the treatment for supply always. That's what keeps us walking in abundance, that treatment for supply. I invite you to use it at least twice a day. At least twice a day. Pray the treatment for supply and watch how your life unfolds and watch how you remain in the flow, because it is so comprehensive. So I invite you to use that. It's on page 262 of the Science of Mind textbook. So just check it out. And don't forget to connect with each other. That is so important. I've been saying this for 16 months now. It's so important to connect with each other. Letters, emails, text messages, phone calls, however you connect, to say, I love you, I miss you, I can't wait to see you. And now it won't be as long as it has been, because we are really looking forward to getting back together as soon as we can. And so I say to all of you, I love you, I miss you, I can't wait to see you. It isn't as long as it has been. We'll be back together before you know it. So meanwhile, take good care of yourselves and walk in abundance. Be safe. God bless. Here's our closing song, I release.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I